Welcome to Conversations with Mr. A. This is your host, Anthony Abastilla, counselor here at Chimacum Junior Senior High. Hello and welcome to another edition of Conversations with Mr. A. This is your host, Anthony Abastilla. So for this week, I have students Connor Paterson and Reid Martin. Senior Connor Paterson and Miss Junior Reid Martin. How are you guys? Thanks for coming.
We're pretty good. Yeah, we're pretty good today.
Cool. So, also, Connor and Reid, you guys are part of the Chimacum School Board. So, how did you guys get involved with the school board?
Well, we both have the same origin story, actually.
Yeah,
that being Reid's dad, Steve Martin. Because Steve Martin has been really interested in the school board for a while, and so he convinced both me and Reid during the track season last year to apply for this, and then we both got accepted. Yeah.
How's your experience been in the school board?
Oh, it's been really great. We've learned a lot. What do you have to say, Reid?
Same thing you were going to say. Oh, it's been going great.
Yeah.
Get to go on trips to places.
Yeah, and learn a lot about presentations and polling and stuff like that. Because as part of what I do, or as part of what we both do, we do monthly presentations to the board. I do the polls mostly, and then turn those into slideshows. And then Reid, what do you do?
Well, it's a little different every time, but tell them what's going on in the school because none of them have any kids in the school, so how would they know really what's going on there?
Yeah, and then you also interview students and say
sometimes.
Yeah,
I think the one thing I wonder is what motivated you guys to be the student representation? Was there anything that motivated you guys or drove you guys?
Well, I just think that it's really important for the student voice to be on the board because we know the school better than any of them do. Because even the staff don't quite know the student experience like the students do. So it's just really important, from my perspective, that the student voice be there, voicing support for things that would be for the student body and things that would be against. As part of that, we are allowed to give advisory votes at the school board to just guide their decisions on things that would affect us. We don't usually do it on things like budgets and stuff like that. But yeah, the advisory votes and then the presentations are our main form of student voice.
And really, it's just cool to be able to advocate for students. We've got to go to Olympia and talk with the governor.
Yeah.
And a bunch of representatives. So people pretty high up.
It's there's two sides of being a school board representative. There's representing the student body to the school board, and then there's representing all of Chimacum to other districts through the Washington State School Directors Association. WASDA is the acronym. That we voiced Chimacum's perspective on a lot of issues to them in November when we went to Spokane, and just recently at the end of February, we went to Olympia and talked to our representatives, Vandaway, Chapman, and Inslee. Reid has a good story about Inslee.
I want to jump on that. I know that's a few questions down the road, so I definitely want to hit on that shortly. What are some of the highlights? You represent the students, you took the polls and stuff. What are some of the highlights this year that you guys found? Now I was just kind of curious.
Well, it seems we're a lot less worried about COVID this year.
Right.
That's been a question on our polls. And I think this last one we had 0 people concerned about COVID.
It was really close to that.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I know I shared this with the last podcast, but how did the COVID and the whole pandemic affect you guys?
Well, it's hard to say because we never got to see the other perspective of what it's like to have an untouched school year. I did somewhat because I got the 3/4 of my freshman year, but it's just really this is the only real full year of high school that I'll have because 9th grade was cut short, 10th grade COVID, 11th grade was just really weird and nothing was really happening. So this is really the only year I'll get of normal high school.
Yeah, and I didn't have any freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
Really. That was just completely gone, and hasn't really affected us as student directors because we haven't had to deal with online school board meetings and
Right.
the struggles that the last directors had.
Yeah.
One of the seniors told me last podcast, she said that she's a senior, and even though this is her senior year, she told me that it really feels more like her freshman year.
Right.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is like the first real full year.
Yeah.
And same for you, Reid.
Are you guys glad to be back full time?
Yes,
It's
it's definitely
yeah.
a lot.
It's better, and it's better than it was last year because everyone's like sort of out of that sort of funk that everyone was in, as Mr. McKenzie puts it. Yeah, really in the recovery part where everyone's responsible for their own behavior now, sort of that COVID is over. That's something that our teachers have been pushing, saying, hey, COVID happened and it made a lot of things harder, but it's time to get back to working hard.
Yeah, and I feel like the administration this year is doing a lot better job with like just being active in the school. Like it's great to have somebody out in the hallways saying good morning to everybody.
Right.
Which we didn't have last year.
Awesome. Any other highlights that you got from the data from the students that stuck out?
Yeah, I know that there's a lot of support for an open campus, and that is something that I have been working on. As part of that, it's a complicated process because a prototype policy with like all the official formatting and wording and everything needs to be created before, and then that is brought to the school board. It's not like we just tell the school board, hey, we want this, and then they do it. So that's something I've been working on, but it's been hard to find something to model it after. So it's going to be a little longer, but it is underway.
Okay. You know what? Let's jump to the Olympia. You guys were talking about Olympia being there in the state capitol. Tell me about the experience. How was it? I mean, I can imagine it had to be a lot of fun last month.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's just a cool place to be. The building's amazing. And just...
How are the representatives like to meet in person?
A lot of them, our main issues we were talking about were funding for special ed and school transportation. And the first representative we met with, Mike Chapman from Port Angeles, who is one of the two that represent our district, he was kind of like, there's not much I can do about this. I'll look into it. He seemed kind of out of it.
Yeah. He cared, but it seemed like the whole legislative session had been going on for a while, and that he had been getting a lot of this sort of feedback, and that there wasn't much. He stated that at this point in the legislative session that there wasn't much that they could do. And so just overall, that seemed to be the sentiment of the whole experience, where it's like, yeah, we're glad you're you're telling us the issues and that you're showing support for this stuff, but we really, it's out of my hands now, and it's out to another group of people formed by representatives that aren't from our district. Like the educational board is, none of them are from our district, so it's hard for us to influence their decision at this point in the process. And that was like one of the main takeaways, that the Day on the Hill, which is a thing organized overall by WASDA, needs to happen earlier in the year. The WASDA conference was like a lot of school boards from all over coming together, so it wasn't just us. It wasn't entirely like, what's the word? not inefficient, but it wasn't entirely worthless, futile, because it's so much better to go there and show that we're unhappy. Even if they can't do anything at the moment, they know we're unhappy with how things are being run. And because otherwise they would just see, oh, no one's showing up, that must mean everything's great, and everything is not great.
You mentioned earlier you had a really good story.
Yes.
I'm curious about that.
So the last day we were in Olympia, all of the student directors that showed up to Day on the Hill had a meeting with Governor Inslee. And so there's like 30 of us sitting in the room, and there's like 3 selected speakers. And when he walks in, he points at a picture on the back wall of, 2 mountains. And he's like, who's the smartest one in here? Somebody raised their hand. It wasn't me, which I should have.
Yeah, he should have.
And he's like, okay, what mountains are those? And everybody got them completely wrong. And I guessed them right, and he was really proud of me, and it was great.
Yeah, it was.
You way to make a good impression.
Aaron Adams,
Yeah, because he heard, who said Adams? And then Reid raised his hand. He's like, yes, good job.
I got to stand next to him in a photo.
Yes,
it's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah. How was he like?
He was tall. Yeah. He definitely cared about talking to the student representatives, which a lot of the people there seemed to want to do. They seemed that they were tired of talking to school board members and were like, it was refreshing to talk to the students. And so a lot of the stuff, the 3 selected speakers, they all gave speeches, and one of them in particular was very successful, as it brought one of the key issues that we were trying to advocate for at the conference was the way transportation is being paid for, the STAR system
being funded by pupil transport instead of by mile. So our district, where we drive compared to a district in a city that'll have a grid of streets, we'll drive many, many more miles per kid than a larger district that'll get more money because they have more students.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get it funded by mile.
Yes. And that was a problem that Inslee was like, I didn't know that was an issue. I'll look into that. And then he asked his note taker to hey, write that down. We'll take a look at that after this. So that's probably the most successful point of that conference, because if the student representatives hadn't been there, he might have never known that there was that big glaring issue that everyone else was trying to bring notice to.
Well, thank you. I'm really, really glad you guys kind of came in and represented us with the Capitol and represented us with Inslee. Mm-hmm. Well done with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So wondering, in the future, maybe when you guys are done with high school, college, throughout, is politics something that you guys might want to do in the future?
I don't think so. That's not something I'm looking to go into.
Yeah. Me neither, really. This has been a really great experience, and it's taught me a lot about presentations and working in a group like that in the professional setting. But it's not something that I'd want to do as a career. It's stressful and takes a lot of work and dedication, and it's been a great experience. But it's not something that I'm gonna continue. Yeah.
Fair enough. What do you guys want to do for a career? What are you guys thinking about afterwards?
I have no idea.
Hey, appreciate the honesty.
Been thinking about it, and nothing's really popped up yet.
You could hunt ducks for a living.
I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, well, I've been looking, and I've applied to colleges going into engineering mostly. I plan on getting a bachelor's of science in that with a minor in biology, because that's what I'm interested in. And so fields that would overlap in those 2 categories would be really nice. I know oceanography is really good because you're studying the environment and marine life But in order to do that, every single piece of equipment you use pretty much has to be built and designed from scratch. And so there's a whole lot of engineering that goes into that. So not dead set on oceanography, but a field like that would be great.
Cool. So besides being part of the Chimacum School Board, Olympia, future stuff, what other activities do you guys do here at the school? Because I know you guys do a few things.
Well, we were both on the tennis team.
Mm-hmm.
I just happened to be the number one tennis player. Connor was somewhere else down the list.
Oh,
We're both in
close.
Interact.
No, it was not close.
It was not even close.
It wasn't.
I have no competition on the team.
To be fair, this was like Reid's like 7th, 8th year doing the tennis.
Like fourth.
But you also go to like tennis games. This was my first.
Okay.
I had zero experience.
The only game that Connor won was when he was playing doubles with me.
Oh.
And we're also both in Interact Club in ASB and on the track team.
Yes.
Right now I'm third in state for javelin, just through 150 feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
The next best person was 48 feet behind me.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. We're proud of Reid for that.
Yeah.
Good job, man. Good job. Band. I know you guys are involved in band as well.
Band's very,
Reid plays the trombone. I play the baritone saxophone.
Yeah.
Which one? So, gosh, tennis, ASB, Interact Club, band. How do you guys juggle everything? Because that's a lot. That's a lot of things.
Well, you get to school at like 8:30, and then you get home from track at like
8:30. What?
6.
8:30?
Okay. Wait, hang on.
Yeah,
I'm so wrong on
yeah,
this.
you are
7:30.
7:30.
Hours are
Come on,
confusing.
8:30?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really takes a lot of work and just energy, and motivation to do, because like in the fall it would be wake up in the morning, go to school. After school, I go to volunteer at the community boat project, and then I'm there for a couple of hours, and then it's like, gotta go to tennis, and so then they're practicing for a couple hours, and then it's like, school board meeting, and so we go to our cars and get into nicer clothes, and then go and do like presentations and things. So it can be nonstop, and you just need to know how to like divvy your time up and just have the hardest part to do is the motivation to get yourself out of bed. And once you get rolling, then it's easy. Each activity gets easier and easier as you establish a routine. It's the first steps are the hardest, getting into that.
Yeah. One thing I was going to say, I'm looking at your transcripts because I always got to check the junior, senior credits, see where you guys are at. With your transcripts, intimidating. Oh my gosh, you're
great. Intimidating people.
Yeah, what could I say? I am awestruck. How? When I mean intimidating, I mean, gosh, you've taken advanced classes, highest grades. What's your secret sauce? Like, how do you guys maintain such a high academic standard?
Well, do the homework. Get it in on time. Don't put things off like to tomorrow when you could easily put them off to the next day again. If you have time and energy, don't burn yourself out, but just fade away. It's better.
Say it again. Yeah. That was good.
Don't follow the quote of it's better to burn out than fade away, because burning out is really awful, and it happens, but definitely try to avoid it. I'd recommend. But just get your assignments in on time, set out time to work on it. If some things are going to get done at the last minute, but that's really the worst time to do it. Yeah. What is some of your advice?
Sometimes there's going to be things that you don't want to do, but you just don't think about it. You just do it.
Yeah.
Don't think, just do.
Just like Top Gun.
Yeah, just like Maverick said.
Classic quote. Definitely a classic quote. I'm wondering for you guys as who are some of the guys or people that you've looked up to? Has anyone helped you along the way? Over here at Chimacum, has there been Any helpful staff or people that's helped you guys through? Besides each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Reid was just gesturing at himself.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm Connor's inspiration.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know.
He was my tennis sensei.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got him motivated.
Yeah, but in terms of staff here at Chimacum, we have some really great teachers. Mr. McKenzie is really great in terms of the quality of his lectures and the humor he brings. It just makes me want to do well in that class. And other teachers, Miss Parent sadly retired, but she was really great and really brought a different perspective to things. Just teachers that bring a new perspective are the most valuable, in my opinion. Like Mr. McKenzie, I didn't like history before going into his class. And now history is, pretty interesting. We learn something new every day, and that's just really great. Penguins? Yeah.
Penguins?
Long story.
We're not talking about penguins here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you appreciate in a teacher, Reid?
What's the word? Like leniency?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They give you a bit of grace?
Yeah.
Understanding.
Letting people turn assignments in late. Sometimes you just don't have time.
We definitely wouldn't have the grades we do if it wasn't for the kindness of teachers.
Yeah.
You mentioned staff, new admin. It's been nice getting them out and just new staff coming in. That's been helpful.
Yeah. There's been like some rough places. I know like there was some confusion about scholarships, but I think everything is coming along very well and everything's functioning better than last year. There's more, like Reid touched on before, the administration is a lot more visible in the school with Mr. Stevens in the hallway every day. Yeah. It's just a lot better,
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. This is the fun one. Word association. So I'm going to give one or two words and just tell me your immediate thoughts, what comes to mind.
Let's alternate, Reid.
It'll be a fun one. Okay, first one, pickles.
Creed 3.
Creed 3? Oh,
that's a good one.
okay. That was good. Okay. Boy Scouts.
Eagle.
Okay. Trail work.
Connor.
Okay. Chimacum community.
Cowboys.
There you go. Top Gun.
Maverick. Yeah.
Best movie of all time?
Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers. Okay.
Top Gun.
Track and field.
Winning.
All right. Oh, that's
what
cool.
about humility, Reid? Is that one ever?
Never.
You're gonna love this one. School drama.
I don't know. No comment.
Okay. Books.
Lord of the Rings. Oh, are we both?
History textbook.
History
I don't
text.
read.
Okay. Tennis.
Me.
Reid.
Math.
Schmidt.
Gabe.
Okay. Good. Okay, so one last question. So what? Well, actually, I have two more questions. What piece of advice would you give the underclassmen? So I'm thinking 7th, 8th graders, even the 9th graders, 10th graders. Like, what would you tell them? Biggest piece of advice, valuable piece of advice you can give them.
Well, don't think, just do.
Don't think, just do. That's a good one.
And
Top Gun Maverick.
listen to your teachers. They know a lot more than you.
Yeah, all the advice I'd give is something that I've sort of been following the past few years is take advantage of as many opportunities as you can, because you're not always going to have these opportunities. Take harder classes, push yourself. If you see an opportunity like joining the school board. Try it out.
If anybody wants to do that next year, I don't want to do it alone.
Yeah. Any specific, especially sophomores, if you want to be a school board member, talk to Reid Martin.
Yeah,
it would be a good time.
I'm sure he'd appreciate it.
Yes, it's really fun. A lot of the time it is, because just working together as part of a team. There are stressful moments, but yeah.
What would you tell the juniors? Because next year they're gonna be they'll be the top dogs. I know you're a junior yourself, but what would you tell the juniors?
Is that a pass?
I don't think.
Connor,
I can say.
But Connor, how about you though? As a senior, what would you tell the juniors?
Well, I'd say just start looking at whatever you want to do out of high school. If it's like military, start looking at that. If it's a college, definitely look at, just do like 5 minutes. It'll make your life so much easier down the road if you thought about stuff, if you looked at stuff and just have it like in the back of your mind, thinking about it a little bit. Get a frame of reference for what college applications are and what goes into them. If you're really motivated, write one like essay about an experience that would go well in a college application. Just do little things, because that will make you so much more prepared and confident leading into your senior year. I put pretty much all of it off until the fall, which is not something you want to do, because that's when they start. Like, that's when admissions starts opening and closing. So just do a little bit, and that'll just get the ball running. Like, it'll get the ball rolling. Sorry. The first steps are the hardest.
Fair enough. So, last question I have is, anything else you'd want to tell our listeners? Any final words you want to tell?
Don't think, just do.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Don't think, just do.
Okay.
Wise words from Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, guys, thank you so much. It's definitely been a pleasure having you guys. Thank you for sharing your words of wisdom. And, hey, definitely good luck for futures.
Thank you.
All right.
And that concludes this week's episode of Conversations with Mr. A with Reid Martin and Connor Paterson. Thank you so much, Connor and Reid, for sharing your insights. And thank you so much for representing us at Olympia. Both of them definitely have bright futures. Great individuals, fun sense of humor, fun people in general. Everyone, next week, more episodes of Conversations with Mr. A. Thank you for listening.